What's up, everyone, and welcome to Chaos Dragons, a history. Chaos Dragons' origins go all the way back to 2004's Invasion of Chaos and the introduction of the original 3 Chaos monsters. Immediately, it was clear that these were some of the most powerful monsters in all of Duel Monsters. Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End, Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, and Chaos Sorcerer brought forth powerful effects and attack power, all for the simple summoning condition of banishing, one light and one dark monster from your graveyard. The idea and theme of Chaos and the battle of light versus dark was introduced in Invasion of Chaos and is one of the most consistent card themes in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! That still shapes the game today. Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End, is in my opinion the most powerful card ever created. With stats of 3000 attack and 2500 defense, a ridiculously easy summoning condition, and an effect that sends every single card to the graveyard while inflicting damage to the opponent, Chaos Emperor Dragon will always be as powerful as the day it was released. Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, is a close second to the Emperor. With the same stats and summoning condition, Soldier differentiates itself by being a warrior. Being able to banish any monster once per turn, regardless if it's face up or face down, is such a luxury as banishing effects have only gotten stronger as the game has aged. If Soldier destroys a monster by battle, he can attack again in a row. A monster with 3000 attack and an easy summoning condition can attack twice. Chaos Sorcerer was never meant to be as strong as Soldier or Dragon, but he can hold his own from the get-go. While 2300 attack and 2000 defense are nothing to scoff at, its ability to banish one face-up monster once per turn provided easy spot removal until the other two hit the field and created an immediate advantage for the player. Soon Chaos decks began to take over the meta as Emperor and Soldier laid waste to everything in their way. In conjunction with Yatagarasu and a special summon Sengen or Witch of the Black Forest, Chaos Emperor Dragon would lead to the creation of the legendary Yatalock, with Emperor sending all cards to the graveyard, Sengen and Witch effects triggering in the graveyard from the field, and searching for and attacking with Yatagarasu. The game would essentially be over. You would deal damage and skip your opponent's draw phase until you win or draw a recursion card like Monster Reborn, and get a second monster on the field with Yata to deliver the final blows to the opponent. Luckily, or unluckily depending on which side of the Yatalock you were on, Yatagarasu was banned in September of 2004 with the introduction of the first ever ban list. Chaos Emperor Dragon would follow alongside with it. A year later, in September 2005, Blackluster Soldier was banned due to its still very powerful effects and its role in the dominant Sacred Phoenix deck, which won the 2005 World Championships. After Chaos Emperor Dragon and Blackluster Soldier were banned, Chaos Sorcerer would jump into the spotlight and take over the competitive scene in 2006. Chaos Return revolved around using some of the best light and dark monsters available and then banishing them for Chaos Sorcerer. Using Magician of Faith and Dekoichi to battle chant the Locomotive's effects, and then using them as a tribute for Zaborg, the Thunder Monarch, was a simple play that put you in great position in terms of advantage. Once plenty of monsters were banished, Return from a different dimension would bring them all back for one ferocious assault. It was clear that the best decks at the time involved at least 2 to 3 Chaos Sorcerers. In September 2006, Chaos Sorcerer went from 3 to the Forbidden list due to its immediate advantage upon summoning and its synergy with the Monarch monsters. Chaos was fully banned. As Yu-Gi-Oh! Continued to grow, it was clear that the Chaos monsters had left a major impression on the game. In 2006, Shadows of Infinity introduced Demise, King of Armageddon, and Ruin, Queen of Oblivion. Their effects harken back to Emperor and Soldier in terms of destruction and attacking twice respectively. Demise would enjoy a lengthy run of power due to Demise OTK and advanced ritual art. Unfortunately, Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, would have no impact on the game due to its low attacking power. In 2007, Booster Pack Force of the Breaker would introduce the Sky Scourge monsters with a similar effect, but with harder and more specific summoning conditions. Sky Scourge Endrise would have little impact on the game as its summoning condition of banishing 3 Light Fairies and 1 Dark Fiend was harder to achieve than the reverse, even though it was essentially a Chaos Sorcerer with 100 more attack power. Sky Scourge Norella's effect was indeed powerful, rivaled the effect of the Emperor, and saw some success alongside Phantom of Chaos. But one of the reasons the original Chaos monsters were so great was a simple condition of banishing one light and one dark monster from your graveyard in order to summon them. The Sky Scourge's summoning conditions were far too restrictive. Often imitated, but never duplicated, many monsters sought to rival the power of the original Chaos monsters. That was until Konami decided to go into a different direction. February and May of 2008 saw the release of Phantom Darkness and Light of Destruction respectively. These two sets would further the theme of the struggle between light and darkness, reinforce the notion of chaos in dark and light summoning conditions, and introduce some of the most powerful monsters to date in Dark Armed Dragon and Judgment Dragon. Both cards would shape the meta drastically, as Teledad would wreak havoc, and Dark Armed Dragon would reach a staggering $250 price point. Lightsworn had several cards appear on the limited list, as well as both Dark Armed and Judgment Dragon. The end of 2008 saw the release of one of the most powerful dragon-specific cards in the game, in Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. The Lightswarm archetype in Light of Destruction revolved around milling, which meant sending your cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard. This random milling allowed you to fill your graveyard with monsters rather quickly to fulfill the summoning condition of Judgment Dragon, while triggering monster effects along the way. Card Trooper was already a great part of this strategy, and Lightsworns reinforced it tremendously. This mechanic would become important to the future of Chaos and its new incarnation. In March 2009, Chaos Sorcerer became limited to 1 after 2.5 years on the Forbidden List. Chaos Sorcerer would flip-flop from 1 to 2 to 1 to back to 3, back to 2, for the next few years as it continued to find its sweet spot. In September 2011, Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, became limited to 1 after 6 years on the Forbidden List, where it has stayed ever since. Chaos had returned. But it would take a structure deck in February of 2012 to give Chaos its true form. Dragons Collide hit the scene as one of the best structure decks to date. This structure deck introduced two new Chaos monsters in the form of Darkflare Dragon and Light Pulsar Dragon. Both had the original summoning condition and their own unique effects. Darkflare allows you to discard a dragon and send a dragon from your deck to the graveyard to banish a card in either graveyard. Light Pulsar allows you to summon him from the graveyard by sending a light and a dark from your hand to the graveyard. It also special summons a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon from the graveyard when it is sent from the field to the graveyard. Its synergy with Darkflare, and more importantly, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, made these dragons an excellent addition to any dragon deck at the time. The third unique card was Eclipse Wyvern. When it is sent to the graveyard by any means or from anywhere, you can banish a level 7 or higher Dark or Light Dragon from your deck. When Wyvern is banished from the graveyard, you can add the dragon that was banished by Eclipse to your hand. Its synergy with Darkflare and milling created a viable engine for this new deck. The new Chaos Dragons. Chaos Dragons exploded onto the scene in tow with 3 Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragons, the 3 new Chaos Dragons, Dark Armed Dragon, 2 of the 3 original Chaos monsters, and their ace in the hole, Future Fusion. Activating Future Fusion with the intent of summoning 5-headed dragon gave Chaos Dragons unparalleled advantage akin to activating the banned card Painful Choice. 5 dragon monsters hit the graveyard, triggering Eclipse Wyvern, placing a Red Eyes Darkness Metal in the graveyard, and providing enough light and dark targets for the Chaos monsters. Not to mention a 5,000 attack beat stick hitting the field in just 2 turns. Chaos Dragons were very powerful and in some ways a bit unfair during this period of time. The game, whether you drew Future Fusion, really decided games before any significant part of the duel took place. This format would lead to Chaos Dragons' most success it has ever enjoyed, due in part to Future Fusion. This period of time would prove to be short, as in September 2012, Red Eyes and Chaos Sorcerer were limited to 1, Torgat of the Underworld was semi-limited to 2, and Future Fusion was finally banned. Chaos Dragons took a significant hit. 2013 was an interesting year for Chaos Dragons. Dragon Rulers became the hot commodity and soon began to dominate so much that it reminded players of the tale of that era. Shockmaster with disabling monster effects, and spellbooks were coming into power as well. But 2013 was not without support. Constellar, Ptolemy, M7 arrived in February-April, while the big addition to Chaos Dragons arrived in November's release of Shadow Specters. Black Dragon, Colette Serpent, and White Dragon Wyburster continued the theme of light and dark while working together. Each monster required the player to banish one of the opposite attribute in order to special summon them. Each monster also searched for a copy of each other when they were sent from the graveyard, giving Chaos Dragons a bit of consistency and field presence without losing advantage. Their effects do not miss timing, so attributing or synchro summoning would allow you to search a copy of the opposite dragon. These dragons would become essential to Chaos Dragons, and the format has taken today. The mini dragons, as some would say, would be some of the last Chaos support the deck has gotten to date. This would require the deck to look elsewhere for support and strength. 6-axis Chaos Dragons also became a new strategy as many saw the need to take the deck in a different direction. With Tefnut, Watthill Dragon, Chaos, the Shadow Monarch, and Light Pulsar Dragon became a quick access to powerful rank 6 Exceed monsters. A Tomb would special summon Red Ice Darkness Metal Dragon, while Photon Strike Bouncer would prevent monster effects. The ban list in September 2013 and January 2014 brought significant changes against the most powerful decks at the time, and allowed Chaos Dragons to gain some strength under the radar. The best changes were moving Chaos Sorcerer from Limited to Semi, and Tour Guide from Semi to Unlimited. Sorcerer was back at 2, and Tour Guide was back at 3. Raiden, Hand of the Lightsworn, was released in June of 2014 and was a match made in heaven. Not only did Raiden provide the essential mid-turn mill, providing immediate Chaos fodder, but he was a level 4 light warrior tuner. Raiden fit harmoniously with the mini dragons, providing rank 4 Exceed access and powerful level 8 synchro summoning, the latter allowing you to search for another mini dragon. Reinforcement of the army became an option to search for Raiden, for milling, synchro summoning, or discarding for a solar recharge. The deck was in some ways complete with the release of Raiden. Its debut was known for quite a while, that many were already thinking about the possibilities with this new edition. Duelist Alliance was released in 2014 and brought a great change to the landscape of Yu-Gi-Oh! 3 new archetypes were released in the new set and immediately went to the top of the food chain. Shadal brought fusion summoning back by gaining advantage off the materials used. Burning Abyss monsters effects triggered whenever they were sent to the graveyard, and Satellar Knights gained advantage on every summon backed by a powerful counter trap card. Chaos Dragons had their work cut out for them. For Chaos Dragons, Duelist Alliance brought Skarn, Melibranchi of the Burning Abyss, and Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, a level 3 and rank 3 monster respectively. Skarn was another tour guide target that fit perfectly with what the deck was trying to do. Skarn would allow you to search for another tour guide in the end phase whenever he was sent to the graveyard. Dante would be an excellent addition as he provided another milling option. Summoning Dante via tour guide would result in Skarn, a dark monster, being sent to the graveyard, plus 3 more cards due to Dante's effect, a 2500 beater for the turn, and a tour guide search in the end phase. Not to mention being able to mill again next turn, or grabbing Skarn when Dante is sent to the grave for a future Light Pulsar effect, summoning it from the graveyard. It was around this time that we received a new ban list in October of 2014. A longtime mainstay, Gorz, the Emissary of Darkness, was finally taken off this limited status and reduced to a semi-limited restriction. Many duelists questioned what kind of damage Gorz could do now that it was at 2, but this would do little for Gorz's overall playability, and it would eventually find its way to unlimited status. The Monarch Storm 4th was another excellent card released in Duelist Alliance. Being able to sacrifice your opponent's monsters, since Chaos Dragons run about 5 to 6 tribute monsters, while still being able to attack, is of great help. The Monarch Storm 4th allows us to run Chaos, the Shadow Monarch, to great effect, as banishing effects are very powerful nowadays. Being able to get rid of an opponent's monster that can't be targeted is of great help and great importance in today's meta. The new challengers added an interesting card to our rank 6 toolbox. Number 39, Utopia Beyond, is a rank 6 Exceed monster with stats of 3000 attack and 2500 defense. Beyond is powerful, but its first effect is what is relevant to us. When the card is Exceed Summon, the attack of all your opponent's monsters currently on the field becomes 0, permanently. Late game, this card is tremendous. Summon Chaos, Sorcerer, Light Pulsar, summon Beyond, and attack for 3000 plus with whatever else you have on the field, since all of their monsters are affected. The April 2015 Forbidden and Limited list saw Tour Guide of the Underworld limited to 1. This meant that, moving forward, Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, would not be a viable option for the deck without a decent Burning Abyss engine. Tour Guide was out. But April also brought some help. Gores became unlimited to 3, as I foreshadowed earlier, but the big addition for Chaos Dragons was the second copy of Charge of the Light Brigade, as it went to semi-limited status. Charge is one of, if not the best card that Chaos Dragon players want to see during a duel. It sends cards to the graveyard and gives you access to Raiden, Lila, or Lumina of the Lightsworn. Cross Souls followed in May of 2015 and brought cards built for Chaos Dragons. Clearwing Synchro Dragon is a level 7 Synchro monster that negates the effects of level 5 or higher monsters once per turn, as well as protecting itself from the targeting effects of level 5 or higher monsters once per turn as well. Glow Up Bulb and any level 6 monster can summon this powerful Synchro. Ghost Ogre as Snow Rabbit is a level 3 light tuner that can be sent to the graveyard from the hand whenever a face-up monster, spell, or trap card is activated to destroy said card. It's a versatile hand trap that provides destruction as well as level 7 Synchro Summoning when combined with the mini dragons. The final card is Galaxy Cyclone. It's a normal spell that allows you to destroy any set spell or trap cards on the field. With the restriction of targeting only set cards, Galaxy Cyclone makes up for it in its secondary effect. During the main phase, besides the turning was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard to target and destroy any face-up spell or trap card on the field. Milling Galaxy Cyclone puts you in a great position to use its effect next turn to get rid of pesky face-up spell or trap cards. Clash of Rebellions hit the scene in August 2015, bringing a new dimension to the deck with the release of Performage, Damage Juggler, and Trick Clown. If you're not familiar with Damage Juggler, don't be too disappointed, as the card is now currently banned. What it did provide at the time was the ability to stop any damage from a monster attack by discarding itself, and then allowed you to banish itself to search another Performage monster like Trick Clown. Trick Clown allows you to special summon it from the graveyard by paying 1000 life points whenever it is sent to the graveyard. This card, when milled or sent to the graveyard by any means, allowed you to special summon it to the field for another play like an Exceed Summon or a Synchro Summon. The final dragon-specific card to come out in Clash of Rebellions was Keeper of the Shrine, a level 4 Dark Dragon monster with 0 attack and 2100 defense. Its continuous effect allowed itself to count as 2 tributes for a Dragon-type monster, but its primary effect stated that whenever a dragon monster was destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. An excellent card that provides defense when your dragons are destroyed and the potential for synchro and tribute plays on the following turn. As we get closer and closer to present time, I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about the competitiveness of Chaos Dragons. I've been playing the deck competitively since its inception and can clearly state that there is no better time for Chaos Dragons than the present. The height of the deck was when Future Fusion was limited, but banishing effects have only gotten stronger as the time moves forward. The deck did see a sharp drop after Dragon Rulers began to take over the scene, and nowadays it is considered a road deck. The deck has seen some success on the local scene and at some regionals, but nothing like during the era of Future Fusion Chaos Dragons. But the ability to special summon powerful level 8 Synchros and Chaos monsters makes the deck very formidable against any deck today. Speaking of Synchros, in October and November of 2015, we saw the release of booster packs High Speed Raiders and Dimensions of Chaos. Both boosters introduce a powerful generic level 8 Synchro that this deck uses to its advantage. Cyframe Omega and Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend immediately became some of the best level 8 Synchro monsters available upon their release. Scarlight allows you to destroy all special summon monsters on the field and then inflict 500 damage for each monster destroyed. Scarlight is also a great target for Light Pulsar Dragon to special summon since it's a level 5 or higher Dark Dragon, with 3000 attack and 2500 defense. Cyframe Omega is a card that fits the style of banishing and graveyard manipulation to a T. During your opponent's standby phase, you can select one banished monster and return it to the graveyard, easily manipulating your opponent and your light and dark monster counts. During the main phase, during either player's turn, you can banish Omega from the field and a card in your opponent's hand until your next standby phase. Not only does Omega dodge effects, but it can disrupt your opponent's hand. Its final effect is when it's in the graveyard, you can target one other card in the graveyard and return both Omega and that card back to the deck, allowing you to recycle a mini dragon to continue the search, or recycle a powerful mill card like Black Luster Soldier and Void of the Beginning. A ban list followed in November of 2015, and the only significant change on the list for Chaos Dragons was that Chaos Sorcerer went from semi-limited status to unlimited status, marking the first time in a long time that Chaos Sorcerer was now at 3. Early 2016 saw the release of 2 sets, Breakers of Shadows and Premium Gold Infinite Gold. Shadows brought Twin Twisters, a quick play spell card which allows you to discard 1 card from your hand to destroy up to 2 spell or trap cards on the field. Not only does it provide superior spell and trap card removal, but you can discard any dead card from your hand, Eclipse Wyvern, or the ever-important light or dark monster to continue your plays. Dragon's Bind is a card I like to mention since it can hinder a lot of decks. It's a continuous trap card that requires you to activate this card by targeting a dragon on your side of the field with 2500 attack or less. No player can then special summon any monsters with less attack than the monster you selected with Dragon's Bind. When your monster is sent to the graveyard, Bind is set there as well. Any card that stops special summoning is worth looking into, and since we run a lot of dragon monsters with 2500 attack or less, it's deserving of a mention. Infinite Gold brought an Old Tuner monster back to playability status with the release of Stardust Charge Warrior. Stardust is a level 6 synchro that when special summoned allows you to draw 1 card. This card made with a mini dragon and Plague Spreader Zombie, a card that fell out of the mindset of duelists due to losing card advantage when summoning from the graveyard. But that draw 1 card brought Plague Spreader back as it allowed for more level 8 synchro summoning like Goyo King and the cover card of Shining Victories later in the year. Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, is a rank 6 monster that allows you to detach and exceed material to send 1 monster from your deck to the graveyard. When it's destroyed, it can special summon a Burning Abyss monster from the extra deck. The new Lavalval chain perhaps that allows players to send Eclipse Wyvern to the graveyard, Return of the Dragon Lords, or any card we desire to set up plays. And finally, we arrive at King's Consonance. It's a battle trap that can only be activated on a direct attack. When you activate this card, you can negate the attack, and if you do, you can synchro summon a level 8 or lower synchro monster by banishing monsters from your graveyard whose levels equal that of the synchro monster. This summon is considered a synchro summon. A 1-card level 8 synchro that uses cards in the graveyard? Sign me up. The considered synchro summon will become relevant later once Shining Victories is released. The current ban list of April 2016 banned the aforementioned Damage Juggler officially and gave Chaos a boost with a second copy of Allure of Darkness. Tragodia was also unlimited to 3 as it saw very little play and made very little impact. Dark Magician and Chaos was also finally taken off the Forbidden list after an errata for those thinking about the Chaos theme, although Dark Magician and Chaos doesn't have the banish 1 light and 1 dark summoning condition that the other Chaos monsters do. And now we finally reach another light versus dark booster sets in the form of Shining Victories and Dark Illusion. Focusing on the original flagship monster of Seto Kaiba and Yugi Moto respectively, each brought something to the table for Chaos Dragons. The cover card of Shining Victories was the much anticipated Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. It requires a tuner and a synchro monster to special summon it, giving it much more restricted summoning conditions. But as I mentioned earlier, this is where Plague Spreader Zombie makes his triumphant return alongside a mini dragon. Black Dragon, Club Serpent, and Plague Spreader Zombie allows you to special summon Stardust Charge Warrior, add a White Dragon White Burster from your deck, and draw a card of Stardust effect. You can then place a card on top of the deck, possibly the card you just drew, and special summon Plague back to the field and synchro for Crystal Wing. Not only are we one of the few decks that can special summon Crystal Wing easily, it is the most powerful level 8 synchro that can stop any monster in fact once per turn during either player's turn. It also gains attack equal to the monster it destroyed via its effect until the end of the turn. And finally, it can also run over any level 5 or higher monster since Crystal gains attack equal to the opponent's monster's attack during the damage step. Crystal Wing gives us a powerful boss monster that is excellent against every deck out there. I believe the future of the deck resides along Crystal Wing as it provides offensive and defensive capabilities and is in out to almost every other boss monster available. Dark Illusion brings us to the present and introduces Coral Dragon and Fairy Tale Snow. Looking at Fairy Tale Snow first, it's a light level 4 spellcaster with 1850 attack and 1000 defense. Its effect is that when it's normal summon or special summon, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and change it to face down defense position. But where it truly shines is with the second effect. During either player's turn, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 7 other cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard to special summon this card. Since we are milling and synchro summoning, we will always have plenty of cards in the graveyard for her effect. Since Snow is a spell speed 2, we can disrupt the opponent's plays and stop attacks by summoning Snow during their battle phase. This gives us access to level 4 monster at any time for Exceed or Synchro summoning plays as well. The final card is a level 6 Synchro Tuner monster in Coral Dragon. Just like Stardust Charge Warrior, a Mini Dragon and Plague Spreader makes this 2400 attack Water Dragon with the following effect. Once per turn, you can discard one card to target one card on your opponent's side of the field. Destroy it. If this Synchro Summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can draw one card. You can only use this effect of Coral Dragon once per turn. Coral Dragon is a great card that can turn any dead card in your hand to destruction, as well as it helps you fill your graveyard with light and dark monsters. The Synchro Tuner aspect lines up perfectly with our plethora of level 6 monsters like Chaos Sorcerer and Light Pulsar to Synchro Summon Ultimaya Zolkin by sending both to the graveyard. This will trigger Coral's effect to draw a card. With Zolkin, once per turn when you set a spell or trap card, you can activate its effect to special summon a level 7 or level 8 Dragon Synchro monster from your extra deck. Immediately you think of Crystal Wings Synchro Dragon, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, and so on. Zolkin also can't be targeted for card effects or attacks while there is another Synchro monster on the field. The best part of this combo is that it again starts with only just a Mini Dragon and Plague Spreader Zombie. Using one to Synchro for Stardust Charge Warrior and the other for Coral Dragon allows you to summon Zolkin very easily. It is at this time I would like to mention the rise of the True Dragon Structure deck released after Shining Victories. It centers around Arcbrave Dragon, Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand, and special summoning from the graveyard. While there are some similarities between the two decks that involve banishing, their playstyles are very different. The Felgrand deck involves sending specific cards to the graveyard and then special summoning them from the graveyard to the field. Most of their monsters are light monsters and leave little room for dark monsters. Chaos Dragon mills various cards to the graveyard to set a place for Synchro summoning and Chaos monsters to banish monsters and overwhelm the opponent. While it may be possible to combine certain parts of both decks together, I have yet to see a result that makes this a worthwhile venture. Both Felgrand and Chaos Dragons need their own deck to flourish. We have finally reached the present for Chaos Dragons, and I'm glad you joined me on this journey. I'm looking forward to what this deck has in store for us, the Forbidden and Limited list for 2016-2017, as well as any other cards that can help shape this deck for the future. Thanks for watching the history of Chaos Dragons. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to sharing another video about our favorite deck in the future.